The topic is the life and times of R.H. Boyd, and we're talking to the author of the book, How It Came to Be, Dr. Bobby Lovett from Tennessee State University, who has given us an overview of some of the activities that R.H. Boyd and his son have been involved in. And of course, Dr. Lovett will allow you to pick up at this particular point and to continue our conversation.
Well, this book, How It Came to Be, the Boyd family's contributions to African American religious publishing, really has a lot in it. It is a update of the last book we did, which was the Black Man's Dream, done in 1996 on the company. But this book, we cut it down and we added 100 photographs to it. So the book is also a good photographic history because we just fill it with photographs. And the R.H. Boyd Publishing Company, which is on Centennial Boulevard, it has a very good archives of old Globe newspapers and Sunday school material and so on. And so they really have retained a lot of their history. And I was able to work with them to put much of that history in this particular book. The most flamboyant of the Boyd leaders at the publishing board was Henry Allen Boyd.
Henry Allen Boyd.
And if you see him in the book, he's all dressed in white. He has white shoes on. He's always immaculately dressed. He's always traveling across the country by Pullman carpool trains and so on. And everybody across the country knew him, you know. But they also knew about the National Baptist Publishing Board in Nashville because it was important to black people's religious experiences across the country. The book also is a history of the Sunday School Sunday School Congress, which was started in 1905 in this very city at Mount Olive Missionary Baptist Church, which is up on Albion Street, right behind Tennessee State University. That church was the home, and still is the home, of the Boyd family.
Very good.
And the Sunday School Publishing Board is, the Sunday School Congress was important in Black Baptist history because it was designed to do something about the young generation, and that is the future Black Baptists would be the young people. And so they had to be trained in the theology of the church and the doctrine of the church. And so the Sunday School Congress sets up every summer for a week. It sets up workshops and classes, and it focuses a lot upon, you know, the young people. And the whole idea is R.H. Boyd's original idea, and that is make sure you train your young people to be Christians. And, so and they just don't happen to be Christians.
That's the title. You know, I've seen the title, the Sunday School Training Board.
That's right.
So that was
it's called the Sunday School Training Union and Sunday School Congress.
Very good.
Because it's training young people to be Baptists and training them to be Christians. You know, you have to bring a child up to understand what Christianity is, or Islam, or whatever, you know, Islam religion. They start teaching them to read the Quran and memorizing the Quran at a very early age. And that's what the Sunday School Congress does. It trains the future generation of black Christians, you know, in the tradition of their forefathers.
In other words, what the Boyd family has done is this is what the same thing that they were doing for other families as well.
That's right.
That kind of...
and now through the Sunday School Congress, they do it for tens of thousands every year. And that's the kind of material they publish. They publish, of course, Sunday school material for children, adults, and all ages, you know, of people. So it's a very important company in the social history of African Americans, the religious history of African American, as well as in African American culture. That company and that family are very critical to understanding African American history.
And so they played a crucial role in terms of the African experience. In a real sense, in terms of the American experience. These individuals.
A national role. And the publishing company also had churches down in Panama. So it was international too. And they had impact on the World Sunday School Congress, which is held every now and then someplace over the world. The board and their company always had a representative at the World Sunday School Congress.
Very good. You know, Dr. Lovett, one of the descendants of this group is Dr. Boyd, Boyd III. I think. What about him and his legacy? I mean, him continue the legacy of what?
Well, he has continued it, expanded that company, which is at 6717 Centennial Boulevard, out past Tennessee State University in a modern facility. They, of course, now publish a variety of religious materials and related materials. And Dr. T.B. Boyd III is also chairman of the committee to establish the African American Museum of Art, Culture, and History in Nashville. As you know, that museum is destined to be built at the corner of 8th Avenue and Jefferson Street. The land is already, you know, obtained, and the committee is getting ready to start hiring the curator, the chief head of that museum. And as you know, Dr. T.B. Boyd III is a graduate of Tennessee State University, and of course, he, is involved in many things in this particular city, very much like his great-grandfather, R.H. Boyd, was at that time.
As a matter of fact, I think I've heard it said that R.H. Boyd, one of the Boyds, played a significant role in the establishment of Tennessee State University.
That is correct, and that's Henry Allen Boyd, who is the son of R.H. Boyd. And on Tennessee State campus, we have Boyd Hall. And Henry Allen Boyd Hall is named in his honor because he chaired the committee of African Americans that convinced the state of Tennessee to place Tennessee State University in Davidson County, whereas we were competing with Memphis and Chattanooga, who also wanted to have the school there. But Henry Allen Boyd was able, with his committee, to convince the legislators and the State Board of Education to place Tennessee A&I State Normal School for Negroes here in Davidson County.
And so that's how the Boyd,
he's one of our founders,
became connected with Tennessee State.
He's considered to be one of the 6 founders of Tennessee State.
And of course, you've done quite a bit of work, not only on that particular family in Tennessee State University. You've also done work on another very significant individual, and that's Avon Williams, in the earlier book that you did.
Yes, in the Civil Rights book, and I've published an article on him in a scholarly magazine as well, because Avon Williams, I think, was the chief civil rights lawyer in the state of Tennessee. He adjudicated over 85 cases, more than anybody, and he was a fearless, courageous man. A lot of people didn't like him because he was fearless, courageous, and black.
Well, that's generally what happens when you're fearless, courageous, and black.
But you know, you really have to give him a lot of credit. And there were others like Alexander Luby, and there were many black civil rights attorneys down in Memphis, like A.W. Willis Jr. and others, who really are responsible for giving us the legal leadership we needed to get where we are today as African Americans.
You know, Dr. Lovett, over the last 2 minutes, would you say that, and this is what I've gathered from some of the things that you've said here, and well as some of the things that you've written, that Tennessee played really a crucial role in the development of African American culture, history, and the whole thing, because I think you talked about civil rights and the whole thing, that the state of Tennessee has played such a... Well, what would you contribute that role, that to, the ability to do that?
Well, African Americans, we have to remember, were 26% of Tennessee at first. After the war, Civil War, that is 1 out of every 4. We're only about 16% today. But African Americans from slavery until now were a very crucial part of every aspect of life in the state of Tennessee. So I've devoted my career basically to revealing what kind of roles they played, you know, in every aspect of Tennessee. You know, I'm not an art historian or historian of science and so on, but I try to bring up as many pieces and tidbits as I can, and hopefully other people will take some of those and then expand it into greater investigations or even books.
Very good. And of course, Dr. Lovett, I know that some of this information has been expanded, coming primarily from your activities, and you've done a real job in terms of making us aware of some of the things that people have become involved in. And I think that it's some of your activities dealing with the so-called freedom rides and all of that activity that we are now much more sensitive in a real sense
and
to what is going on. And of course, let me thank you, Dr. Lovett, over the last half minute for coming by and giving us that excellent information on the Boyd family. And I'm sure that that kind of information will further enlighten us, not only in terms of the publishing aspect, but in terms of all aspects that this family was involved in and has been involved in. And we want to thank you for that. And let me encourage our audience to tune in again next week for another informative edition of Comments. Thank you and good morning.